Good morning, everyone. Marahay na aga sa Indogabos. Welcome to Naga City. Maraming salamat dahil gumastos kayo ng sarili niyong pera para makarating dito. Nahihiyaman kami, pero pasensya na po sa aming nakakayanan. But we are very happy that you have joined the first ever Mayoral Hackathon. 27 years ago, on the occasion of Naga's 50th founding anniversary, the city government of Naga, under the leadership of my then late husband Jesse, introduced a new slogan, An Maugmang Lugar, a happy place. We did not build this reputation by accident. Naga became a model city because its people refused to be passive. The vision was never about the government that would simply deliver services to a waiting public. Through the years, we have found the most effective solutions among ordinary people who see a problem and show up without needing to be told that it matters. The city is built with Nagueños, not just for them. Ulitin ko. This city is built with Nagueños, not just for them. These days, Naga is still a work in progress. In the spirit of An Maugmang Lugar, we have placed the focus back on improving the quality of life for our people. We want to make Naga more sustainable and livable. And we believe there is no better way to achieve this than by ensuring that every citizen can take pride in being a partner in our city's development. Ayaw po namin na tinitingnan ng tao na tagatanggap lang ng tulong galing sa gobyerno. Pero yung gusto naming lungsod, ay nakikita na yung tao may ownership sa problema, kaya tumutulong din siya. To fulfill the promise of Maugmang Lugar in these modern times, we have identified 8 finish lines for the next 3 years. All concrete aspirations that we co-created with civil society. Ito pong 8 finish lines na to, nabuo ito out of una, community consultations with the barangays, civil society consultations with the different sectors, pati po yung mga iba't ibang mga organizations dito sa Naga, city officials, members of the City Hall family, lahat merong ambag in coming up with the 8 finish lines. Parang ano lang naman ito, parang 3-year development plan. Pero gusto namin siyang tawaging finish line para makadagdag sa pressure sa amin. Na hindi siya, pag sinabi kasi development plan, parang plano lang siya na pwede namang nasa papel lang. Pero pag finish line, kailangan naming maitawid bago namin tapusin yung aming first term in office. So hindi ko na siya, hindi ko iisa-isahin lahat. But today, I want to speak about 3 of those finish lines in particular. The ones most directly relevant to the work of this hackathon. First, data-driven social protections for every Nagueño. And under it, we have 2 key pillars for well-being, health, and social services. The Naga City Local Health Facility Development Plan, lahat naman na LGUs merong ganito kasi required siya ng DOH. It has one governing objective, to establish a responsive, accessible, and integrated public-led healthcare provider network, which fully operationalizes the mandates of the Universal Healthcare Act and aligns with the Philippine Health Facility Development Plan 2020 to 2040. Ganda, di ba? Ang ganda ng pagkasulat. Pero most of the time, hanggang sulat lang yon. And most of the time, yung nakakalungkot, over the years, kahit nung nasa Office of the Vice President pa ako, nasa Congress pa ako, and nag-angat buhay na ako. Lahat meron, pero kadalasan kahit yung mag-i-implement, hindi niya naman nababasa. Parang ginagawa siya as a compliance lang. Compliance with the requirements of the OH. So sayang naman kung hindi mabasa. Ang ganda pa naman. So the core principle underlying every element of this plan is equity and quality. Yun po yung gusto naming ma-achieve dito sa Naga as far as health is concerned. Every Nagaño is entitled to safe, people-centered, and comprehensive healthcare services, and to access those services without incurring financial hardship. Tingin ko, this is not, this is not just the dream of Naga, pero the dream also of every local government unit. Di ba? Ito naman yung dream ng lahat. To deliver on that commitment, the plan is organized around 4 strategic pillars. Number 1, health infrastructure development. The systematic closure of facility gaps identified through population-based demand analysis, including the need for additional primary care facilities and public hospital capacity at both level 1 and level 2. Medyo expound ko lang yon. Currently, aside from the barangay health centers, Naga has 4 health facilities. Yung number 1, Naga City General Hospital. Tapos meron kaming tinatawag na CHO1 and CHO2. Ito yung City Health 1 and City Health 2, which in a way serves as a primary care facilities dahil nagpapacheck up doon yung mga tao. Tapos yung pang-apat is an infirmary na nandun siya sa upland barangays ng Naga, yung Our Lady of Lourdes Infirmary. Pero ano yung nangyayari ngayon? Ang ideal sana, every facility except for the Naga City General Hospital, dapat sana yung 3 facilities na yon, CHO1, CHO2, and Our Lady of Lourdes Infirmary, dapat may mga catchment areas siya. So halimbawa, yung Naga, 27 barangay siya, dapat yung mga barangays na malalapit doon sa CHO1, CHO2, OLI, dapat doon sila pumupunta, di ba? For all their health needs, dapat doon sila pumupunta para yung mga tao hindi nahihirapan pumila ng pumila kasi hindi sila magka-clog sa isang facility. Halimbawa, example, ang CHO2 namin, malapit siya sa downtown area, catchment area siya for 10 barangays. Pero ano yung nangyayari? Ang nangyayari ngayon, majority, kahit check-up lang, pumupunta sa Naga City General Hospital. Meron din pumupunta doon sa ibang health facilities. Pero lahat, papunta siya sa Naga City General Hospital. Na ang ospital sana, dapat nakakonsentrate lang siya doon sa needing specialized care, or needing confinement, or emergency services. Pero ito, kahit ang outpatient department ng Naga City General Hospital, siya yung pinaka-busy sa lahat. Pero siya yung pinaka-busy sa lahat kasi siya yung kompleto ng gamit. So madali lang sabihin na ako galing ako sa barangay na ito, doon ako naka-assign sa CHO1. Madali lang sabihin na doon ka pumunta. Pero when you go, hindi naman kompleto yung gamit. Kailangan ko ng labs. I-refer pa ako sa Naga City General Hospital. So why go to CHO2, di ba? Pupunta na lang ako doon kasi doon, sigurado, na pag doon ako nag-OPD, kompleto na lahat. So yun yung nangyayari ngayon. Pero because hindi nasusunod yung mga catchment assignments, may mga facilities na overloaded. And Naga City General Hospital is overloaded. So, ang daming reklamo sa kanya. Ano yung mga reklamo sa kanya? Ang haba ng pila, ang tagal naghihintay ng mga tao, kulang ng doktor, kulang ng mga nurses, kulang ng gamot. Talagang kulang. Pero kulang siya kasi yung sinuserve niya is so much more than what is planned. Pero hindi kasalanan ng tao. Kasalanan ng gobyerno kasi hindi niya na ma-manage na maayos. Until now, I've been in office for what? Close to 8 months. hindi pa din namin naaayos. Nag-improve lang siyang slightly. Pero hindi pa namin naaayos ng naaayos. Kasi marami siyang moving parts na hindi namin maaayos kaya kailangan namin yung tulong nyo. So, ano pa yung mga problema sa health namin? Mamaya ako na i-discuss kasi facilities pa lang. Pero essentially, yun yung problema ng facilities namin. So, ano yung tinitingnan namin na moving forward? Ang tinitingnan namin moving forward, dapat yung ibang facilities outside of the general hospital, dapat kumpleto yon. Para maengganyo yung tao na doon siya pupunta. That's number one. Pero for facilities ba, kaya bang asikasuhin yung services na about 210,000 na population? Definitely not. Kung susundin natin yung universal healthcare sa proportion, dapat meron kaming 11. Dapat meron kaming 11 na primary care facilities para yung mga tao hindi masyadong naghihintay ng matagal, pero hindi pa namin yon kaya. So this year, gusto namin magbukas ng 4. Tapos in the succeeding years, dadagdagan namin. Yung mga barangays na kaya na, kasi may mga barangay health centers naman na malaki, may area, pwede nang tulungan ma-equip, makakadagdag yon. So, the second is human resource strengthening, which addresses workforce capacity alongside physical infrastructure, recognizing that facilities without adequately trained and sufficient personnel cannot deliver the standard of care required. Ito siguro, magbibigay ako sa inyo ng context. Magbibigay ako ng context kasi paminsan, ang pagpapagawa kasi ng ospital, lalo pag ako yung local chief executive, ano yun, trophy ko yun. 'Di ba? Pag nakapagpagawa ako ng malaki, maganda, maraming beds na hospital, trophy ko yon. Pero paminsan, nakakalimutan na ang ospital hindi building. Di ba? Pero yung ospital is the entirety of all the services that people would need. Pero kadalasan, yung local chief executives, dahil politiko siya, inuuna yung magandang building at saka na lang maghahabol. So yun yung nagiging problema. Meron kang magandang building, pero hindi mo siya na ma-maximize in the manner that the hospital should function kasi hindi mo naman siya sinabayan ng budget for personnel. Yung budget mo for personnel, gumawa ka ng ospital na malaki, pareho pa din nung wala kang ospital, na meron ka lang infirmary. So paano mo matutugunan yung mga personal needs? And because kami, by nature, mga politiko kami, pag kami yung nagde-decide who to hire, kadalasan maraming political accommodations, di ba? Mga anak ni kapitan, mga anak ni kagawad, nakikiusap. And kadalasan, wala sa kanya yung skill na kinakailangan pero accommodation. Lalo na ngayon na may hazard pay and may PhilHealth share, pinag-aagawan na ma-assign sa hospital. And paminsan, pag hindi fair yung proseso, yung mga favorites, yun yung nakalagay sa ospital. Kasi yun nga yung choice na assignment. Pero ang nagsasuffer yung services. Kasi yung nilagay mo, wala namang capacity. So example, yung problema namin sa ospital, yung structure ng HR namin, sobrang bottom heavy. Maraming admin assistant. Maraming clerical, saka secretarial, utilities, marami. Pero ang pharmacist, iilan lang. Ang medtech, iilan lang. Kahit nurses, kulang. So parang, kung na-imagine nyo yung triangle, sobrang heavy niya sa bottom, meron siyang taas, pero halos hollow yung gitna. Kasi hindi na-manage ng maayos yung dapat sana bago binuksan yung ospital, maliit lang muna, pero kumpleto na para sinescale mo na lang. Pero ito, nauna yung malaking building, tapos maghahabol na lang ng tao. So magrereklamo syempre. Di ba magrereklamo syempre yung tao na palpak yung serbisyo. Syempre palpak. Kasi hindi mo nasabayan yung building ng kinakailangan na tao. And I think it's not just it did not just happen in Naga, but is happening in many hospitals managed by local government units. Okay, number 3, service delivery integration and network governance. The institutionalization of two-way referral systems supported by standardized referral forms and electronic tracking to ensure continuity of care across all levels of the provider network. So, ito, meron kaming apat na facilities. Pero yung apat na facilities, hindi yun nag-uusap. Meaning to say, possible na mangyari na ako, pasyente, nabigyan na ako ng gamot sa isang facility, gusto ko pa mag-ipon ng maraming gamot, pupunta ulit ako sa ibang facilities at makakahingi ako. Although ngayon, medyo na-improve na namin yon slightly. Pero kulang pa din. Pangalawa, nagkakaroon lang ng relationship yung mga facilities ngayon. Pag nagpatingin yung pasyente, hindi sa ospital, somewhere else, tapos ni-refer siya sa ospital for labs. Pero ano yung resulta ng hindi maayos yung referral system? Ang number 1 na aray namin doon, hindi kami nakaka-collect sa PhilHealth. Na dapat sana nakaka-collect kami. Kasi programa yon ng PhilHealth. So dahil hindi pa maayos yung mga referral systems namin, naka-automate kami, pero mano-automate yun. Parang ginagamit namin yung mga programs just to encode. So, ang ginagawa ngayon, yung mga doktor, iikot, yung mga nurses, merong charts. Pero yung ikot ng mga doktor, saka yung mga charts, lahat yon manual. Tapos yung manual na yon, isasubmit sa isang opisina. Yung opisina, i-encode yon. And paminsan, ang dami naming PhilHealth rejections. Kasi yung encoding, nagkakamali. So may isa ka lang mali, marireject na siya ng PhilHealth. Marireject na siya ng sistema. Hindi lang yon, because nagmamanual saka nag-e-encode, ang backlog namin, ang haba. Just to demonstrate to you, I was able to get assistance already for the hospital. Siguro mga ang nahingi ko na mga almost 100 million. Nahihingi yun sa DOH from the national government as assistance to the hospital. Pero ang usapan doon, mabibigyan ka lang nung next tranche pag na-liquidate mo na yung earlier tranche. Dapat naman, di ba? So sa nahingi kong almost 100 million, ang da-download pa lang 10 million. Dahil hindi pa namin, wala na kami pera. Pero yun pa lang yung na-download dahil hindi pa namin naliliquidate at may backlog pa sa encoding. So, ano yung ginawa ko? One of our best people na mahusay din yung background sa IT but who's our HR and procurement now, inassign ko muna doon. Inassign ko muna ngayon sa ospital to be the chief finance officer and to help them transition to a more digitized records keeping. Kasi, ang DOH, may requirement naman siyang programa na ginagamit sa ospital. Yung iHomies. Magkaiba pa yon ha. Yung City Health, pareho ang nire-reportan, DOH. Pero magkaibang programs. Ang City Health, ang required program sa kanya, iClinicSys. Ang ospital naman, ang required sa kanya, iHomies. So ngayon, ang isa sa mga challenges namin, pwede ba nating i-marry yung dalawa? Para maayos na yung referral system sa both hospitals. Na pag pumunta sa akin sa ospital, na nagpa-check up na sa ibang facility, makikita ko na yung buong records. Ngayon kasi hindi. Kung ano lang yung ipakita sa kanya, yun lang yung nakikita niya. So, sobra pang crude. So, ngayon, hindi ginagamit yung iHomies kasi mas comfortable na mano. Ang nagagamit lang yung ng iHomies, yung pinaka-chief na, na encoder. So yung chief encoder, siya ang gumagamit ng iHomies, pero you can just imagine the enormity of the work that the encoder has to do because the encoder has to encode all the manual reports that all the doctors and all the nurses did. So ngayon, marami kaming backlog. So, for example, may halimbawa yung Sorsogon Provincial Hospital, nakakasubmit sila ng PhilHealth reimbursement in 2 days after the transaction was done. Hulaan nyo kung ilan sa amin. Sa amin, 48 days. After one transaction has been done. Saka lang kami nakakasubmit and it takes 7 to 10 days for PhilHealth to reimburse. So, ano yung implication nun? Maraming perang natetenga. Diba? Talaga mauubos yung budget mo. Kasi yung pera na dapat sana pinaparol mo, hindi mo naroroll. So, yun yung kailangan namin sa inyong tulong. Paano namin ma-simplify yung mga proseso such that hindi na kailangan mag-manual lahat, ma-marry namin yung mga pagkakaiba ng mga health facilities na makita yung health records. May mga data privacy issues ito na kailangan i-settle. Pero yung pag nagpapa-check up yung isang taga-Naga, dapat sana ay nakikita na nung doktor ano yung previous health history niya para nakakapagbigay siya na mas maayos na prognosis and diagnosis. So, yun yung isa namin na pinaka hinahanap ngayon. Paano namin ma-memory yung iba-ibang systems? I-mention ko naman mamaya in detail kung ano yung naisip namin na mga programa sana na makakatulong sa amin. But let me first proceed. Ito na yung digital health and information systems which function as the enabling infrastructure for all the 3 that I have mentioned earlier. On digital health specifically, the city's implementation agenda is concrete and time-bound. Number 1, gusto sana namin electronic na all the medical records and referral tools, and we are able to deploy this already across all barangay health centers and referral facilities, including the Naga City General Hospital and the Bicol Medical Center, which is the tertiary hospital, Apex Hospital here. Number 2, we are able to implement already the telemedicine services that will be integrated in compliance with the UHC mandate. Kasi mandate na under the Universal Healthcare Law na merong telemedicine services. Number 3, the One Health app will be utilized to monitor priority populations for proactive and timely medicine delivery. So, ngayon, hindi namin yun nagagawa dahil wala kaming real-time health records. Ang backlog, even on the barangay level, ang backlog minsan months, meron pang years. So, paano makakagawa yung local health board ng proactive na intervention or planning kung hindi mo nga alam kung ano yung what's there. So ngayon ang pinaka dream sana namin na in real time, especially the policy makers and kami na tasked to implement, na meron kaming access sa data na real time. Na halimbawa, may nagreklamo sa amin last week, ilan na yung may dengue cases. So tinanong namin yung City Health, ilan na ba yung incidence ng dengue cases sa atin? Hindi alam. Hindi alam kasi hindi kompleto yung reporting. Parang lahat, ay may nagsabi na dun sa barangay na ito, ganito. Pero walang real time. So hindi mo alam kung may kailangan ka na bang gawin. Halimbawa, yung TB incidents, marami pang untested ngayon kasi hindi pa targeted. Pag pumunta doon na nagpa-test, na nag-positive, nalalaman. Pero paano yung hindi nagpapa-test? Now we started an initiative na yung sa mga bata, lalo na yung mga wasted and stunted, nagti-TB testing na kami. And unfortunately, may mga nag-positive na. And pumapasok to sa eskwela. So you can just imagine kung you put in danger the health of all the others. Because pumapasok na hindi siya tested. So, matulungan sana kami na ano yung mga pwede namin gawin para nakakabigay kami na mas proactive and timely advice, medical advice. Ang isang problema din namin, gamot. Kahit may pambili kami, nauubusan kami. Bakit kami nauubusan? Dahil hindi maayos yung inventory management. Bakit hindi maayos yung inventory management? Kasi nakasulat lang lahat. Nakasulat sa papel. So for example, one patient would go to City Health. Sabihin natin, yung mga common medicines. Ang pinaka-common, yung amlodipine, yung pang-hypertension. Pag wala sa City Health, aakyat sa mayor's office. Pwede pong pahingi ng pambili. Kasi pag hingi po namin sa City Health, walang amlodipine, which is very regular. So, ang usual kong gagawin, pupunta ko yung City Health. Bakit kayo nawalan? Na dapat hindi kayo nito nawawalan. Minsan, halimbawa, yung pharmacist alam niya, pero yung City Health officer, paminsan hindi niya alam na wala pala. Diba? Na dapat sana, nakikita na yan sa app. Tapos, pag nagtanong ka, bakit kayo nawalan? So, maghahanapan pa sa records kung bakit nawalan. Yun pala, may na-bid out na, pero yung winning bidder pala, hindi pa nagde-deliver. And it happened. May winning bidder from April, November ako naghanap, meron pa siya hindi nagde-deliver. You can just imagine. Nanalo na siya ng April, hindi pa siya nagde-deliver by November. Pero walang nakapansin. Kung hindi kami naghanap, walang nakapansin. Kasi hindi maayos ang records. Dapat sana, in one glance, nakikita mo na. Di ba dapat in one glance, nakikita mo na, alin na ba dito ang malapit na maubos? Tapos dapat alam mo na, in any given month, ilan bang metformin ang kinokonsume natin? Ilan bang amlodipine ang kinokonsume natin? And dapat, para sa akin, yung buffer, 1/4 dapat. Hindi pa nawawalan, bumibili ka na. Kasi kung bibili ka na paubos na, chances are, there will be days that you won't have. Because the procurement process takes more than a month. Kasi may publication pa, kung susunod ka sa procurement process. Ang problema, paminsan, nasanay na dun sa emergency purchase. And we don't want emergency purchase unless it's really emergency. Bakit hindi maganda yung emergency purchase? Kasi lugi yung city. Kasi hindi ka na magbibidding eh. Diba? Dapat sana, dadaan ka sa bidding so you can get the best deal. So parati kong sinasabi, i-allow lang natin yung emergency purchase kung yung emergency was unforeseeable. Pero yung naubusan ka ng stocks, hindi yun unforeseeable. Bad inventory management. So yun din yung kailangan namin. Ano ba yung programa na makakatulong sa amin na better inventory management? Alam ko na marami ng programs out there. Pero kailangan pa din maghanap ng isang programa na una, user-friendly. Pangalawa, na yung lahat na decision makers and implementors would have access to it. Para alam na namin before the problem even comes. Na-anticipate na. This will be complemented by mobile health technologies, a digital ID system to support health data collection, and a patient-managed personal health record system. So, isi-share ko lang to. Isa sa pinakamalaking problema ng Naga. Merong ditong, the biggest hospital here is the Bicol Medical Center. Ang Bicol Medical Center is a DOH regional hospital. So, yun yung pinaka-kompleto, yun yung pinaka-maraming espesyalista, yun yung pinakamalaking funding. Pero because of that, marami siyang pasyente. Yung Naga City General Hospital, funded by the city government. So because it's funded by the city government, kahit gusto naming maging philanthropic all the time, we're not allowed to spend all our money for non-residents of Naga. Siyempre, yung konting pera namin, nakalaan yon for residents of Naga. Pero masama na umayaw sa pasyente. 'Di ba? Masamang umayaw sa pasyente. Pero dapat ang sinasabi ng DOH, for us to be able to serve even non-Naga residents, dapat yung services na ni-render namin, marireimburse namin yon from PhilHealth. Kasi kung hindi namin yun marireimburse from PhilHealth, it would be better na i-refer namin sa Bicol Medical Center. Kasi Bicol Medical Center can spend for them. Pero ikaw, pasyente. Alam mo, pagpunta mo sa Bicol Medical Center, maraming pasyente din, napipila ka. Sa Naga City Hospital, mas konti. So kahit tagalabas ako na Naga, doon ako sa Naga City Hospital kasi mas convenient, mas konti yung mas konti yung pila. Pero yung problema, pag inalaw namin yon na walang limits, baka April pa lang sarado na yung ospital. Kasi, syempre, yung funds namin is limited. So, kailangan namin ito, yung parang digital ID system, na nakabase siya sa, yung hindi ba mako-cover ng PhilHealth, iko-cover ba ng ospital for zero balance billing? Kasi dapat, pag taga-Naga ka, makover ng ospital yung zero balance billing. Pero pag hindi ka taga-Naga, dapat ma-refer siya sa BMC para zero balance billing siya. Ewan ko kung, do you follow? Nakaka-follow ba kayo? So ngayon, nahihirapan kami malaman kung taga-Naga o hindi. Kasi lahat nagka-claim na taga-Naga. Although later on, ma-discover din na hindi pala. So ang tanong, ano ba yung pwede namin gawin? Although we're profiling all our residents now. So ano ba yung pwede namin gawin para yung digital ID system would already be the signal dun sa mga healthcare providers kung anong klaseng health services ang pwedeng ma-provide sa pasyente. Based on that. 'Di ba? Kasi kung may pumuntang pasyente sa ospital, pangit naman na sabihan mo na ay hindi namin ikaw tatanggapin. Lalo na pag emergency cases. Pero yung pinakamabuti, pag scan pa lang ng kanyang ID, alam mo na kung ano yung limits of the services that can be provided to them para bago pa man lumala, na-refer na siya sa mas maayos na medical facility. So ngayon, we don't have that. Umaasa lang kami ngayon sa whatever kind of ID that is shown to us. But we have discovered over time na ang daming hindi taga-Naga na may ID Naga. So, it's something that, parang ano siya, actually crossroads kami dyan. Kasi while we want to help a lot of people, we just can't because of the limited budget that we have. May mga innovations kami ngayon na ginawa, like we entered into AMOA, turo to sa amin ng PhilHealth. We entered into AMOA with 3 towns na sinasabi nung 3 towns na ang Naga City General Hospital ang aming primary care provider para yung services na marirender namin, masisingil namin sa PhilHealth. Pero without that, hindi namin masisingil. So gastos yun ng Naga for non-Naga residents. So we need a better, digital record system para ma-support yung aming, yung patient-managed personal health record system. At the community level, barangay-based promotion on adolescent health, immunization, and non-communicable diseases will be amplified through digital apps alongside social media mobilization platforms for basic health service delivery. So sa barangays, ano yung nangyayari? Iikot yung mga barangay health workers. Health profiling, immunization, maternal care. Iikot sila, ang midwives iikot din separately, pero lahat na profiling nila nasa papel. Lahat na records na ginagawa nila nasa papel. Pagdating nila sa barangay hall, isasubmit nila yung papel sa kanilang encoder. tapos mag-encode. But you can just imagine, lalo na sa mga big barangays, grabe din yung backlog. So again, ang average na backlog dito sa barangays, several months. So pag kailangan mo na yung updated data, you don't have it. You don't have real time. Pag hiningi na yung reports, hindi real time kasi hindi pa na-encode. So pagka-encode sa barangay, magsasubmit din sila ng reports sa City Health Office. Ang isasubmit nilang reports, hard copy. So meron ulit encoding na mangyayari. So ano yung dream sana natin? Ang dream natin, I was telling you earlier, na may ginagamit na app, yung City Health Office, na itong app na to, ito yung pag-transmit niya ng reports sa DOH. Ang app, iClinic SIS. So ang gusto sana natin, na yung mga umiikot na mga barangay health workers or midwives, meron ng tablet na dala. Yung tablet na dala, meron na siyang program na naka-upload dun sa tablet. Tapos dun niya na sinasagutan. Wala nang mano-mano. Pwede namang i-check pa din yon, pero it goes into the system na. Para pag okay na siya, after yung pinaka-head niya nag-check, dire-diretso na. Hindi yung andaming gaps, na andaming reporting system na hiwa-hiwalay. Hiwa-hiwalay yung reporting system. Sa barangay, magre-report pa siya sa Barangay Kagawad on Health. So, nandyan si Mayor Rex ng Victoria, Tarlac. I'm sure, Mayor, na you share the sentiment. Ang mga workers natin, health workers natin, nauubos yung oras to comply with DOH requirements. Magsasubmit ng report. So wala nang ibang gumagawa ng reports. So ang gusto ko sana mangyari with us, pwede ba tayo makagawa ng app na isi-simplify na yung lahat na ginagawa? Para ang ginagawa na yung health workers natin, yung totoong trabaho nila at hindi sila natetenga sa paggawa ng reports. So that's a kind of program that we wish na magkaroon tayo. So collectively, these measures constitute a shift from fragmented facility-level service delivery toward a governed, data-integrated health system, one capable of fulfilling the city's universal healthcare obligations in the years to come. So ang sinasabi ko sa health personnel namin, kahit ang ipangarap lang muna natin, pag may kababayan tayong nangangailangan ng healthcare, mapoprovide natin yon. Pag may gamot kailangan, dapat hindi hadlang ang kahirapan para hindi sila makainom ng gamot. Yun lang. Wala nang iba. Huwag na tayong maghangad ng iba pa. Yun lang muna tutukan natin first 3 years. Kasi pag nagawa natin yun, mararamdaman ng tao na inaasikaso siya. Pero, kung may sakit siya, pipila muna siya. Tapos hihingi pa siya sa mga politiko ng pambayad. 'Di ba? Tapos bibigyan siya ng konti. Tapos bahala na. Halimbawa, meron siyang maintenance medicine, nabigyan siya ng konti, kailangan niya ng 30 tablets, ang nabili niya lang 5 o 10. Magkakasakit pa din siya, 'di ba? Kasi hindi niya yun nainom. And pag nagkasakit siya, expense pa din yun for the LGU. Pero pag inaasikaso mo na healthy yung mga tao sa lugar mo, so tinitingnan namin, pag naayos natin yung service delivery, ang gusto na namin tingnan yung mas preventive na aspect, yung healthy lifestyle ng mga tao. Kasi lalo nagkakasakit ang tao, lalo magastos sa gobyerno. Kasi grabe yung pangangailangan mo sa health facilities and health services. So, kung ang gusto mo na bibigyan mo ng tamang care yung tao, yung datos yung pinaka-importante. 'Di ba? Yung data is the most important one. So, pagpanganak pa lang, pagbuntis pa lang, dapat na, red marks kami sa health scorecards. Kasi yung maternal care, dapat yung mga buntis, nakakapag-prenatal check-up, dati 4 times, bagsak kami doon. Ngayon, ginawa pang 8 times. Di lalong bagsak kami. Pero ang reason nun, tingin namin, ginagawa ng mga BHW sa midwives ang trabaho nila. Pero yung documenting, tracking, hindi nga namin alam yung universe. Pag sinabing 95% ng mga bata dito sa atin, 0 to 5, kailangan fully immunized. Hindi nga alam, kasi ang daming nakaregister sa Naga, kasi yung mga ospital nasa Naga. Di ba? Ilan ba talaga yung tunay na universe ng mga bata na kailangan ma-immunize? So, hindi maayos yung records taking and records managing. So yun nga yung, paano ba? Paano, halimbawa, pag ni-register sa local civil register namin, pag pinanganak sa Bicol Medical Center, chances are, galing yan sa labas ng Naga, siguro more than 20%, galing yan sa labas ng Naga. Pero i-register dito dahil sa Naga nanganak. Pero dapat may way of tracking. Saan ba doon? Sino ba doon sa mga ni-register sa Naga ang may Naga address? Yung parents. Pero ngayon, pareho din. Ang local civil registrar, ang gamit niyang programa, PSA program, Philippine Statistics Authority program. Para makuha ng City Health sa kanya, yung records, ang imagination ko noon, i-click niya na lang. I-click niya na lang sa computer, parang Excel. I-click niya na lang, hanapin niya yung lahat na may Naga addresses. Pero no, the program doesn't allow you to do that. Alam niya yung kung anong ginagawa? Kinokopya mano-mano from the computer screen. Kasi hindi na do-draw from the PSA program. So ang tanong ko, pwede ba tayo na gumawa ng sarili outside of that program para dumidiretso na siya sa isang, 'di ba? Sa isang database, lahat na may Naga addresses, diretso na doon tapos pinapadala na ng LCR. May data sharing na ang LCR sa City Health. Para alam na ng City Health, sino na yung mga aalagaan namin as far as immunization is concerned. 'Di ba? Tapos pag nagpa-check up sa private doctor, yung mga medyo may kaya, magpapa-check up sa private doctor, wala kaming way of assessing. Pero kung meron sanang data sharing na memorandum of agreement with the Philippine Pediatric Society, na pag Naga residents, pwede bang, we don't have to beg for it anymore? Pwede bang merong system na naka-network na tayo lahat na pag Naga yung nako-cover na? So, very fragmented yung lahat na data. Kanya-kanyang opisina, may kanya-kanyang set ng data. So, the next finish line, tapos na tayo sa health, iwan ko muna yon. Yun naman yung pinakamalaking problema. Yan yung warning ko sa inyo. Yun yung pinakamalaking problema as far as data management is concerned. So, ang next is social protection. The City Social Welfare and Development Office administers 6 program clusters: children and youth welfare, women's welfare, family and community welfare, crisis intervention, disaster response, and auxiliary social services. With all this combined, they serve a caseload of thousands of beneficiaries annually. The scope of this mandate is defined by a constellation of legislative obligations, including the Social Welfare and Development Act, the Solo Parents Welfare Act, and aligned national programs such as 4Ps, AKAP, YAKAP, and the social pension for indigent senior citizens. The governing principle of this administration's social protection agenda is that compassion must be systematic and data integrated. Goodwill and dedicated personnel are necessary conditions for effective social welfare delivery, but they are not sufficient. Without the institutional architecture to support them, service delivery becomes inconsistent, benefit release is delayed, and the most vulnerable households bear the cost of administrative gaps they had no part in creating. Thus, our reform direction rests on three integrated priorities. First, and ito ginagawa na namin ngayon, community-based social profiling. We want to establish a unified barangay-level household registry, which is continuously updated and classified by vulnerability indicators, including indigency, disability, solo parenthood, abuse exposure, and disaster risk. This registry shifts the city's operating model from reactive case intake to anticipatory programming, enabling targeted intervention before households reach crisis point. So, bigyan ko lang kayo ng idea. Malaki yung social protection program, both of the city and the national government. Malaki yon. Yung mga national government programs, kadalasan downloaded din yon sa city government. May mga programa na targeted na. Meaning to say, halimbawa, ang 4Ps, meron ng listahan kung sino yung 4Ps members. Solo parents, meron ng registry ng mga solo parents. Seniors, meron ng registry ng seniors. Pero yung problema namin, halimbawa nagkakasakit, kailangan ng gamot. May namatayan, kailangan ng assistance for burial, expenses o pambili ng kabaong. May mga nasa stranded na passengers, hindi na makauwi kung saan sila galing na probinsya, kailangan pasakayin. Over the years, ang naging habits ng tao, pag may kailangan siya, pipila siya sa CSWD, hihingi ng tulong. So, ang DSWD, meron siyang programa na AIX. Siguro narinig niyo na yung AIX, no? So, pipila ka doon, bibigyan ka ng tulong, pera yung binibigay. In 3 months, hindi ka na ulit makakahingi, pero after 3 months, pwede na ulit. So, meron mga nangangailangan na every 3 months nandun para humingi. May dalawang takes ako doon. Kung nangangailangan ka, bakit kailangan ka pang pumila? Dapat targeted na sana yon. Halimbawa, maraming pumipila na yung hinihingi niyang pera, pambili niya ng gamot. So ang tanong, bakit hindi na lang ipadala sa kanya yung gamot? Or make the medicine available sa mga barangay health centers para hindi na siya pipila sa DSWD. Doon niya na lang pipick upin. Anyway, siguro nagka-indigency assessment na din. Pero hindi pipila siya. Pangalawa, meron ding pilahan sa city. Halimbawa, pag may, ewan ko mayor ko nangyayari to sa inyo sa Victoria. Pero dito po sa amin, pag may session ang sanggunian, marami nakapila sa labas. Kasi nandyan yung mga councilors, magsusolicit sila after. So, naging ugali siya. Okay naman maging matulungin, pero number 1, yung tinutulungan mo ba, sila ba yung most in need? Baka hindi naman. Baka sila lang yung masipag pumunta. Baka yung mga wala nang kinakain, hindi naman alam na pwede palang humingi. 'Di ba? O nahihiyang pumunta kahit alam nila na pwedeng humingi. Pangalawa, kahit mo yan bigyan, is that sustainable? So ang tanong, yung humihingi ba deserving na humingi? Meaning to say, entitled ba siyang humingi? Baka naman ang sagot, oo. Pero halimbawa, binigyan mo ng 3,000 pesos. Hanggang kailan yon? Syempre, yung resources mo, limited. So ang gusto natin ngayon mangyari, is there a way na ang tao hindi niya na kailangan pumila, pero identified na natin sino yung mga nangangailangan ng tulong. Tapos anong klaseng tulong ang ibibigay natin para, una, mas maayos yung management of resources. Yung hindi naman kailangan ng tulong, wag na munang humingi. para yung konting resources mo, sa kanya mo nabibigay. Pero what's happening now? Kahit sa gamot, kahit may pambili, dahil alam nila na nakakahingi sa city, hindi sila bibili, hihingi na lang. Pero yung kailangan ng gamot, hindi sila nakakainom. Ang iba namamatay dahil hindi nakainom. Without knowing that they can ask for help. So ngayon, ang hinahanap natin, paano ba't natin magiging very targeted lahat? Na sinisiguro natin na all the programs of the city government, not just CSWD, pero pati yung labor, pati yung employment, pati yung scholarships, mas targeted. Kasi halimbawa, yung scholarship, social service din yon. Halimbawa, scholarships. Marami kaming scholarships. Pero ang ginagawa namin sa scholarships, nagpapa-exam kami. So yung best and the brightest, sila yung scholars. Pero ang tanong, sa larger scheme of things ba, nai-equalize mo ba yung inequality by doing that? 'Di ba? Kasi minsan, may mga matatalino pero hindi naman kailangan ng help. Pero nag-a-apply ng scholarship kasi matalino siya, alam niya na sayang naman. Pero ang tanong ko, halimbawa kami, ang dream ko sana lahat na pamilyang Nagenyo ay may college graduate. Kailangan namin maging targeted. 'Di ba? Kailangan namin hanapin 'yon. Sino ba yung mga pinakamahihirap na pag hindi natin tulungan, hindi makakapag-aral? Pero hindi namin 'yon magagawa without the data. Ang CBMS, from the Philippine Statistics Authority, yung CBMS data, the latest, has been turned over to us already. Substantial siya, 44,000 households ang covered sa Naga. Pero ang assessment namin, we have about 60,000 households. So yung 12,000 households, yun yung tinatrabaho namin ngayon. Ang CBMS data, kompleto siya. Yun, downloadable, saka pag hinanap po yung isang data lalabas, pero hindi kompleto. So kinukompleto namin yon para pag gumawa kami ng programs or maghanap ng beneficiaries to existing programs, mas targeted na. So, marami siyang implications, merong mga tweaking of existing policies, merong amendment of existing ordinances para mas targeted. Pero again, it will all redound to, meron ba kaming data, meron bang programa para madali na for us na mag-targeting, para madali na for us na kung mag-o-offer ako ng tulong, nandyan na kaagad. Example, yung solo parents. Maraming mga benefits ang solo parents. Pero halimbawa, ako solo parent ako. Pero, hindi ko na din kailangan yung tulong na kailangan ng ibang solo parents. So, mas gusto sana namin na yung parang Venn diagram natin. Yung mga, kung anong klaseng tulong, hinahanap natin yung cross-section of needs ng mga tao para hindi siya blanket. Hindi yung lahat na senior citizen, same ang ibibigay. Kasi pag same ang ibibigay, hindi natin ini-equalize yung inequality. Diba? Hindi natin binabalanse yung inequality. So next. Ang sunod namin na wish, paperless case management. All program enrollments, case studies, referral records, crisis intervention logs, and disaster response documentation will be migrated to a unified electronic platform. We want it to be a system where any social worker can access a complete current case history, initiate referrals, and document outcomes in real time, reducing administrative redundancy, improving data integrity, and enabling supervisory oversight at the program level. So again, just to demonstrate kung ano yung mga nangyayari. Halimbawa, bumagyo. Dahil hindi maayos ang sistema, pagdating sa mga evacuation centers, maglilista mano-mano. Maglilista mano-mano. Pag magsabi ang DSUD, magbibigay kami ng mga housing materials para doon sa mga nawala ng bahay. So maglilista yung barangay, again, mano-mano. Pag minerge na yung lahat na data, ang daming mawawala sa listahan. Ang daming mawawala sa listahan. Pag nagbigayan, instead na natuwa yung mga tao, nag-away-away. Lagi yan nangyayari. Nag-aaway-away. Bakit siya meron? Ako wala. Mas grabe nga yung nangyari sa akin. And nangyayari siya kasi hindi maayos. Hindi maayos yung data system. And anong connection nito sa paperless? Maraming bagay ang masosolve pag paperless na tayo. Una, baka masolve na yung mga threats to integrity of data. Dahil lahat nga saka ang mga sinusulatan minsan, nasa likod ng kalendaryo, supot ng tinapay, kasi yun yung available at the moment. Hindi talaga maayos yung case management, yung data management. Ang pinaka-problema nun, kasi ang nasa sacrifice, yung mga nangangailangan na hindi nabibigyan. Pangalawa na lang siguro yung wala ng storeroom para sa daming data na hindi pwedeng itapon dahil wala pang policy tungkol dyan. So, with the reforms that we wish we could have, this will represent a transition from a program delivery model to a systems management model of social protection. So, na-imagine nyo ba na dati kasi ang mindset namin sa City Hall, basta mabigay lang kung anong hinihingi. Pero ang gusto natin, na meron tayong architecture ng sistema na kahit hindi siya humihingi, dahil nalalaman na natin kung anong kailangan niya, nabibigay na natin yon sa kanya, na hindi niya na sinasakripisyo yung dignidad niya. Kasi, paano na sisakripisyo yung dignidad? Bisita kayo ngayon sa opisina ko, marami nakapila. Pag ikaw ba pumila? Di ba? So, lagi ko yan sinasabi kasi ang iba, syempre, nagre-reklamo, ano ba yan? Yan na naman. Humihingi na naman. So, you have to remind everyone na mabuti nga tayo yung hinihingian. Hindi tayo yung humihingi. Kasi kung tayo yung humihingi, di ba nakakababa yun ng dignidad? So, paano natin iiwasan na ganun na sistema? Na parang, minsan kasi ang measure natin, pag humingi sa atin, nabigyan naman natin, okay na yun. Hindi eh. Hindi yun okay. Okay yun, pag hindi na siya humingi, alam natin, na-anticipate natin yung needs niya, hindi na siya kailangan humingi dahil nabigay na natin sa kanya. Or at the very worst siguro, hihingi lang siya dun sa barangay niya. Hindi na siya kailangan pumila sa opisina ni mayor, opisina ni congressman. May mga sakit na. Minsan may dala pang swero, nakapila. Kasi walang family member. Walang family member na mag-aasikaso. Minsan, alam niyo yung swero na umaakyat na yung dugo? Pumasok na sa tube yung dugo kasi wala sa kanya nag-aasikaso. Siya yung pupunta. Ang office ko nasa second floor. Maraming mga stroke patients na mga paisa-isa na yung paglakad. Tsatsaga, naaakyat dahil hihingi ng tulong. So, if we allow these conditions to persist, we're not doing them any service at all, kahit pa nabibigay natin yung hingi niya. So, iiwanan ko na yung social services, kasi kulang na tayo ng oras. Doon na tayo sa pangatlo. And this is the last finish line that I will discuss with you this morning. So, yung pinaka-last na finish line that I want to discuss is our finish line on cleaner, greener, and flood-resilient Naga. Malaking problema namin yung baha. Kasi pag tiningnan nyo yung topography ng Naga, we are at the lowest end of the Bicol River Basin. So, pag umulan, bumabaha kasi mas mababa kami sa mga karatig na mga lugar. Hindi pa yon, paminsan, second day, third day, mas mataas pa yung baha kasi yung mga baha galing sa Albay, pupunta pa dito sa amin. Kaysa nandun kami sa mas mababa. So the city faces several environmental and logistical hurdles across multiple sectors. But alongside these concerns, we have established a series of measures and solutions to address them. Number one, in terms of air quality, The heaviest burden on our air comes from our roads, from the congestion that keeps engines running, idling, and choking our streets. Mamaya, good luck sa inyo, mararamdaman niyo yung traffic sa amin. Namumura kami araw-araw dahil sa traffic. Hindi namin masolusyonan overnight kasi again, marami siyang moving parts. Ang dami namin kailangan gawin bago namin masolusyonan yung traffic. Makahanap ng mas pangmatagalan na solusyon. We seek to enforce a fundamental shift on how people move through this city. We are looking at incentivizing a transition to electric vehicles. We are developing green loops or connected routes that prioritize non-motorized and low-emission transport. And we are pursuing pedestrianization projects that return parts of our city to the people who live in it, on foot at a human pace. Ito po, sinimula na namin. Since, kailan ba tayo nag-umpisa? November? Since November, nag-umpisa na kami ng mga carless weekends. And yung mga carless weekends, blockbuster yun dito sa amin. Parang piyesta lagi pag may carless weekends. And it only goes to show that people are hungry for safer streets. Kasi pag tiningnan mo yung mga daan namin, talagang designed for cars, not for people. So isa yon sa mga, kaya hindi pa namin ma-resolve kaagad ngayon, kasi maraming infrastructure shift na required. Paglagay ng bike lanes, pag-ayos ng pag-ayos ng mga sidewalks, pag-alis ng mga obstructions. So ngayon, nandun pa lang kami sa clearing phase. Ang daming obstructions sa aming mga sidewalks. So dito, uso ang door-to-door. Dito, kahit malapit lang pupuntahan mo, nag-jeep pa o nagta-tricycle o nagdadalang sasakyan ang mga tao. Kasi, hindi convenient panglakad. So yun yung gusto naming ayusin. So in terms of water, makikita nyo pag umikot kayo sa Naga, na the heart of the city is the Naga River. Nasa gitna siya ng city. Siya yung naghahati sa city into two sides. We have our centerpiece Naga River Revitalization Program. Our act of reclaiming not just our waterway, but our city's relationship with the water that runs through it. Madumi po ang tubig ng aming river. Classification C yan. So yun yung gusto naming ayusin. Gusto namin na i-aim na mas luminis yung tubig. Naglalagay kami ngayon ng mga water treatment facilities. Ngayon, for this year, maglalagay kami ng water treatment facility sa aming Naga City Public Market. Kasi for the longest time, yung tubig na madumi galing sa market, dumidiretso sa aming river. So ngayon lang yan, lalagyan ng water treatment facility, isusunod namin yung aming ospital, and isusunod-sunod na lahat. So I don't know if anyone here is from Iloilo. Meron bang taga Iloilo dito? Wala. So kung nakapunta na kayo sa Iloilo, kung nakita nyo yung Iloilo River Esplanade, nangangarap kaming gayahin yon. In fact, paumpisa na yung first phase of the program. Bakit namin yung gagawin? Gusto naming i-bring back ang attention sa Bicol River. Pag pinaganda namin yon, ang expectation namin, ang tao magkakaroon ng ownership sa paglinis ng tubig kasi nakikita na siya at dinadaanan. Pangalawa, makakadagdag siya sa pedestrianization. Kasi pag pinaganda namin yon, it will become a long linear park na ang tao maiengganyo ng maglakad from one side of the city to the other. Pangatlo, preventive health measure din yon. Kasi ang number one cause of death dito, hypertension, saka heart disease. Kasi walang exercise, lahat nagsasasakyan all the time. So and we don't have as many we don't have parks, we don't have enough open spaces for people to conglomerate. Kaya nga pag nagka-carless kami, punong-puno ng tao. Kasi yun lang yung only chance nila. So last November, nagkaroon kami ng 3 carless Sundays. Blockbuster yon. Nung December, nagkaroon kami ng 2 3-day carless weekends dun sa pinakasentro ng Naga. Blockbuster yon. And ngayon, may experience na pala. May experience yun. Pero maiksi lang kasi yon. We started our February carless Saturdays. We started last Saturday, Valentine's Day. Tomorrow will be the second carless weekend. Tapos, ang third, sa February 28, which will culminate in a concert with the Manila Symphony Orchestra. So, ito pagbabalik dun sa kamalayan ng tao na pwede naman palang lakarin ng Naga. Na hindi naman pala tayo kailangan na sumasakay ng sumasakay. Paunti-unti parang binabalik. Hindi siya pwedeng forced eh. Kasi pag forced, ang tao may tendency na hindi susunod. Pero pag masaya lang, good vibes lang, gusto ng tao yon. So, the Naga River Revitalization Program is also paired with the implementation of an integrated drainage master plan. We are working to address both flooding and the structural conditions that make our city so exposed to hazards. As I've said earlier, phase 1 of the River Esplanade project is already underway. In terms of solid waste, our landfill is reaching its limits, and the volume of plastic waste moving through the city is a problem that cannot be wished away. We are formalizing the system for the men and women who have long been doing the work of waste sorting without recognition or support. We are introducing zero waste incentives for barangays, and for long-term solutions, you are seriously looking into the waste-to-energy approach. As regards land use, our recalibrated comprehensive land use plan shifts the city's orientation towards vertical growth, building up, not out, so that we protect what remains of our open land while still making room for a city that is expanding. When you go around the city during your free time, makikita nyo na some parts of the city sobrang siksik na. Sobrang siksik na. Ito, where this is, may libre pang konti na what is supposed to be the diversion road. Pero siksik na ito. Ang medyo bakante na lang sa amin yung towards the mountains. And there's not nearly enough land to cover our needs anymore. So ngayon mag-shift na kami sa mas vertical. And lastly, on climate resilience. We are building a data-driven early warning system governed by a resilience council that can coordinate across agencies and barangays when extreme weather threatens. We are also committing to the massive reforestation of Mount Isarog as a structural intervention for the years to come. Given our current landscape in these areas of service, we are called to ask ourselves, how does technology close these gaps? How do we build systems that find people and not just serve those who find us? Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. How can our government show up before the crisis does? Kadalasan kasi ang government nandyan, pagtapos na yung crisis. Di ba? Lagi tayong relief, rehabilitation. Pero paano natin maiiwasan? Or paano natin maiibsan dahil handang-handa na tayo? And how do we strengthen the spirit of being an active steward of our city? Amid the challenges of our times, we know that we must transcend the old way of doing things. This is why an open, digital, and participatory Naga is part of our strategic direction. And in the context of introducing solutions, we believe that this pivot will give the infrastructure that makes all our other goals possible. Governance happens when we make our health data visible and accessible. When we build a system that identifies a family in need, even if they do not set foot in City Hall. When we strategically connect our flood sensors to a platform that our communities can refer to in real time, this is what technology enables. A government that sees more clearly, moves more quickly, and can be held to account by the people it serves. At the core of our efforts towards our goal of being an open and digital city is Maynaga app. Ewan ko kung tingnan nyo na yung Maynaga app. Our flagship citizen engagement platform, developed with a local startup and its young team. Maynaga now has 32,000 downloads, kahit bago pa lang, and 22,000 registered active users, making it the single largest digital citizen feedback and service delivery platform in the entire Bicol region. Pag tiningnan nyo yung Maynaga app, parang yung lahat naman na elements expected of an LGU app nandyan, di ba? Pero that is not what makes the Maynaga app empowering. Kasi yung, meron ka ba, Cle, nung interface nung Maynaga app? Pag tiningnan nyo yung Maynaga app, if you have that already in your downloads, ang pinaka single most used feature of the Maynaga app, yung complaints section. Yung complaint section, every day, we are bombarded by thousands, hundreds of complaints from our citizens. From stray animals, mga sirang bumbilya, mga nawala ng tubig, nawala ng kuryente, mga ayusin na ganito. Araw-araw. Ganon yung nare-receive namin. And maganda siya. Talagang na-busy kami, pero maganda siya. So through Maynaga app, our residents have already filed thousands of cases, real concerns from real people, ranging from uncollected garbage and public safety issues to requests for street light repairs, drainage declogging, and complaints about illegal parking. Meron pa kaming dream ngayon. Yung dream namin ngayon, gagamitin ang Maynaga app to enforce discipline as far as traffic is concerned. So pinag-aaralan yung legalities nito, but you might be able to help us with developing it. Ang gusto sana namin, yung mga obstructions, yung mga hindi sumusunod sa traffic rules, yung mga nag-illegal parking, pwedeng picturean galing sa Maynaga app na camera, tapos may naka-geotag, real-time, nakalagay, tapos pwede siyang maging evidence ng violation of traffic ordinances. And yung mga violators, pwede siyang to be made to answer for them. Parang contactless. So, pinag-aaralan namin yon. Pinag-aaralan namin yon ngayon kasi napakahirap yung traffic because you only have, ang reklamo sa amin, wala na namang enforcer. Kahit ang dami na naming enforcer, laging kulang because our streets are already very busy. Pero siguro pag en-empower yung citizens to help the enforcers, baka mas maging disiplinado yung mga tao. So, that one is underway. So, these are not abstract data points. These are the daily community-level concerns that directly affect the safety, cleanliness, and livability of our city. Maynaga app sifts through these reports through an AI-powered triage system that categorizes, prioritizes, and routes reports to the different departments. Dati kasi mano-mano. Yung I think first month of Maynaga app, mano-mano lahat. Pero ngayon AI-powered na din yung aming triaging. Diretso na siya sa mga departments na kailangan tumugon. So halimbawa uncollected garbage, diretso na siya sa solid waste management. Pag ang problema, mga illegal parking, diretso na siya sa public safety office. Kung ang problema, busted streetlights, diretso na siya sa General Services Department. So it has helped us na hindi na masyadong labor-intensive yung pagtatriage namin. But perhaps, the most important fact is this: my Naga app is modular and scalable. It is designed to be open by default where possible, so that modules can be audited, reused, and improved by local teams rather than locked into proprietary vendors. So, since we launched my Naga app in August, marami nang dinagdag na features. Marami pang kulang, halimbawa, yung inaayos pa ngayon, yung security issues, marami pa siyang kulang, pero ang pinakamahalaga, ini-improve natin day by day. Parallel to this is the guidance of the Aninag Council. The Aninag Council was formed through an executive order which I signed. Aninag stands for Advanced Naga for Innovation and Good Governance Council. The body charged with making sure our digital transformation remains principled. The council vets and screens every technology before the city adopts it, so that we are not captured by vendors or dazzled by tools that do not serve our people. It sets the standards for how artificial intelligence is used across city systems to ensure that our people's data are used responsibly. Napakahigpit po ng aming data privacy officer. Data protection officer, I mean. And it oversees integration across departments so that our systems speak to each other and serve the city as a whole, rather than creating new silos in digital form. Wala pa po kami dito. Nandun pa lang kami sa proseso na ini-integrate ito. Because just to demonstrate to you, ang accounting office namin, ang ginagamit niyang program, naka-digitize naman siya. Pero ang ginagamit niyang program, yung program ng COA. Ang budget office namin, ang ginagamit niyang program, yung program ng DBM. Ang procurement namin, same. Ginagamit niyang program, yung program ng DBM for procurement. Ang local civil registrar namin, ang gamit niyang program, yung program ng Philippine Statistics Office. Yung city treasurers namin, ang gamit niyang program, yung sa BLGF. Kanina na-mention ko na yung health office, iClinic SIS, ang ospital, iHome SIS, at yun lahat na program sa ginagamit, hindi sila nag-uusap-usap. So ngayon, we want to break those silos already for more efficient governance, para hindi fragmented yung delivery of services. Ngayon, paunti-unti, nagagawa na namin, pero we would be needing your help to get past those silos. Marami na ding improvement, pero kulang na kulang pa. So, we are just very grateful that you are with us today to help us navigate yung aming mga kakailanganin. So today, we are affirming our commitment towards our city's digital transformation. And we are proud to do it with all of you. We are here to build things the city can actually use, not proofs of concept, not polished presentations for a panel of judges, but features, modules, and systems that will be integrated directly into my Naga app and contribute to the real institutional transformation of how this government works. So hindi po namin hinahanap yung mga sobrang high-tech na mga programs. Hindi yun yung hinahanap namin. Ang hinahanap namin, yung magiging functional sa aming mga pangangailangan. Yung makakatulong sa aming day-to-day governance. Yung makakapadali sa aming trabaho. Yung makakasagot dun sa lahat na gaps that I shared with you earlier today. So sa amin, mas simple, mas gusto namin yon. As long as natutugunan niya yung mga pangangailangan. Wala pa tayo doon sa pagandahan ng naisip. Ang hinahanap pa lang natin, how do we make governance more efficient? by using technology so that we can better serve our people. So each solution here must pass a real test. One that has nothing to do with elegance or complexity. Gaya ng sabi ko, we are not looking for the most sophisticated technology, but for the most thoughtful response to a real civic need. Solutions that truly understand the problems they are seeking to solve. We are reaffirming the value of collective ownership. Our solutions here are built for Nagueños by people who understand and love Naga as much as we do. Solutions that are designed for our context, ones that go beyond imported templates. And we are looking for these solutions from a long-term standpoint. We will not measure their success by the demos during our hackathon. The real test will be whether the city can deploy it, maintain it, and improve it. Ultimately, the answers will come from Nagueños, who will be using what you built. There are very real challenges ahead for us, but instead of being discouraged, let us all choose to look at it as an opportunity to make real, lasting change for the city that we all love. So, eto na po yung pinakahuli. Yung mga tumulong sa amin to develop my Naga app, ano lang to? Parang nag-umpisa lang siya sa may kwentuhan. Sobrang bilis niya lang ginawa. So, dinevelop, ang sinasabi ko lang, wag nating i-deploy pag perfect na siya. Pag meron ng working draft, gawin na natin kasi mapaperfect natin yan with the participation of the people who need them, by the people who will use them. So that's exactly what happened with my Naga app. So ang happy lang namin dahil volunteer lang yun sa amin na itutulong, but we are very happy that there are a number of LGUs already who approached us na gusto ding gayahin yung may Naga app, and tinatanong kami, pwede bang ipakilala kami? Pwede bang ipakilala kami doon sa mga gumawa? Kasi gusto din namin i-explore na magkaroon din kami. So kahit hindi ganun ka-lofty yung ating dreams, tingin ko the best creations come from the simplest desire to just be of real service to our people. So really, thank you for accepting our invitation to join us, and thank you for making all the sacrifices just to be here with us today. We are looking forward to spending the next 3 days with all of you. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Maraming salamat.